Brandon, the thing is, the new live joinees won't understand, right? So I'll just give
Yes.
a little bit brief. So what the previous live session got stuck for some reason, and Brandon was talking about his experience in Nepal and how he connected with the deities, and uh, how Batuk Bhairav was the most prominent experience in him. Uh, and yeah, sorry, continue, Brandon. Again, this is
Yeah.
episode number 31. Yeah, and this is Brandon from Alabama. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, I was talking about during Batuk of a month, my experience with that, and so what I can say is I was doing Batuk Bhairava sadhana, and I kind of got to that state of feeling like the vibrationless state, feeling like forgetting to breathe almost, and it was very peaceful, tranquil, and soon after that, I kind of came to the decision that I don't need to be looking for my ultimate one. If I don't find that, that's completely okay. And the very next day is when I get a call from a girl that I had met, which I presume to basically be my calling, my ultimate one. Um, and so even before that, I felt during Bear of a month, I felt like the lower chakra orgasm, where it was just a consistent like feeling of peace. It was almost like just too much like ecstasy that I was experiencing. But then when I met this girl, I basically like when we were connecting, I basically felt all my other chakras just felt like they were all lighting up. And then it kind of came to a point where I think I don't know, a little complicated. Like I was trying to see where things were headed in this relationship, and I think I may have said some things too early. And in that feeling of this is never going to happen, I felt a complete disconnect where everything from the crown down just felt like it shut off, and I felt like I was in my own personal hell for a moment. Um, but then there was this like resurgence the next day, resurgence of inspiration, and again, I kept on felt a very deep connection with Batuk, and I'm almost at a state now where I feel like I'm going to be in Batuk sadhana for some time, almost to slow down the process. And yeah,
Okay. Uh, so during Batuk Bhairav month, you felt like you don't need anyone. You don't need any because you felt he's only your Ishta Devata,
mhm.
and after that you fell in love with the girl, and you felt like your chakras activated, and you also told like she's like Matangi, she's like a singer, right?
Yeah.
So what can you tell us more about what did you see about Matangi in her?
Yeah, just the aspirations for wanting the truth out there to open people up to higher frequencies,
Mm,
trying to basically bring Eastern ideas to the Western mind.
mm,
And I saw that in her and everything to do with her voice and her talent and everything like that. I was basically like, wow, this person has unlimited potential. But there was definitely a struggle of knowing, like coming from the perspective that I'm coming from, trying to communicate that to someone else and trying to know like what level someone is at spiritually, which is not to say like there's necessary levels. It's more complicated than that.
mm,
But it seemed like I was almost nervous and holding back to say too much because during this whole experience, I felt like I had a whole life review as well, where I was basically seeing why everything happened in my life the way it happened. And, I mean, I'm still in a place where even that the incident of us pulling apart needed to happen the way it did. Um, and yeah, it truly has given me new life and more inspiration to live and to like keep moving forward. And even if it is about centered on Maya and the illusion,
mm,
um, it's still like inspiring me to. People kind of say that Earth is a school, but it's not really a good school right now. And it's kind of my intentions now is to make it this a better school for people, a better place for people to transcend, instead of wanting to jump ship and say, oh, well, Earth really isn't the best place right now. Let me go to transcendence, to try to stay here for some time in order to bring these ideas to the West,
Mm,
in a way that they were stolen from people. And I know a lot of people will say, um, like Hinduism is not really an ism.
mm,
Um, and it's universal knowledge that should be spread, and I want to be able to bring that back to the people where it's been stolen from us. um, and that's kind of what my dharma is to bring these ideas to the West, to a Western audience in some sort of fashion. And some of my inspiration has been like seeing the Marvel films, like seeing Doctor Strange and stuff, and seeing how they're starting to open people's eyes to these different concepts. Like, Doctor Strange had to deal with like the dark hold, and they're now talking about quantum realms and parallel realities and things like that. And so, to an extent, I think that people at Marvel are trying to do that work. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, like Doctor Strange going to that Kamartaj, Nepal, to understand the teachings of the ancient one. So I think you also went to Kamarth near in Nepal, right? So what did you
Mhm.
find in Nepal?
Yeah. So the first place that I went to was um, the Bhairava temple there in this square, and I was told like a lot of people like the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix from the '70s visited that same square as me. Um, and yeah, the painting that I have behind me is a Mahakal painting, um, that I got there as well. Um, and I mean, it was interesting because the people I went with, I was expecting to go. It was just with a random group, and I was expecting to find more people similar minded as me, but I didn't
Mm,
find that. Even the tour guide, I ended up knowing more of the spiritual knowledge, than he did, which I was kind of came as a surprise to me, like knowing more of the stories about the deities there. Um, but particularly, what really stood out to me, and I have the photos of it and everything. I woke up in the morning, um, the day before we were going to the Kali temple. And the night before, I was told, "Oh, we're going to this like Buddhist monastery," but they didn't mention the Kali temple, so I was worried the entire night if we were still going. So the entire night, Kali was on my mind, and I very much felt a presence in that room the entire time. When I woke up for the sunrise, I took a picture of the sun, and it was in the shape of an eye, and the cloud was covering part of the eye. And the stone that I was holding was the exact same shape. I held it up to my phone. It's the same shape. It had a crack in the spot where the cloud was. And yeah, so we ventured out that day. We went by some smaller temples. Then there was the start of the Kali temple. There was a form of Bhairava. I'm not sure
mm,
the name of the form. And then we went to the beginning of the Kali temple. And before this, there was a woman that came out of this other temple on her walk there, and people were kind of like thrown off by her, just like with her like appearance, demeanor. But I wasn't afraid, and all she wanted to do was give us a flower, and so I took the flower with me. And that for me was very symbolic of the eye of Shiva being the wisdom and intuition, and sacrificing that, and sacrificing the flower, like my you know my desire to find my ultimate one. I basically set both of those
mm.
aside and then continued walking on my path. Um, but yeah, that was probably the most profound part of the trip.
Okay, so where have you been other than Nepal? So Nepal, Kali Temple, Bhairava Temple, you've been, right? And
Mhm.
uh, other than Nepal, have you been to any other temples?
No, I mean, there's a temple here in Montgomery that I go to,
Mm,
which has Shiva, Durga, Ganesha, um, and Krishna statues there. Um, and besides that, nothing else. My first step out of this country was to Nepal.
oh, Nepal. Okay, so like many like Americans, the Westerners, they are interested in the Eastern knowledge, but the people who act upon it are very few. That is, you are one of them who like with so much curiosity you went, like you just went to Nepal. You didn't care
Mhm.
about what others think, and just you went there. Like
Yep.
that the people who do that, right, that who take action of the curiosity, that's very few. Most of the people stay in their own homes and they'll just make some calls and find some guru, and but you just went there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Mm.
no like at first I had no reason. Like I wanted to go to India, and the other trips that I saw on this website, they were like they did like group trips. They had some like longer ones in India, but I couldn't take that much time off from work, and I was like, oh, Nepal would be the perfect place. And then I realized it was the perfect place, especially with tantric yoga and
Mm.
everything. It was exactly the place I needed to be. And so it was just trusting the intuition on that and not like thinking too much about it. I didn't feel the need to overthink it. It felt like it was very much calling out me for me to go there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So your favorite deities are like Kali and Bhairava.
Yeah, Kali, Bhairava, and then there has
Mm.
been a calling with Durga. And what I've been trying to, and again, I can't say that I know everything. I'm still learning very much, still very much a student. Um, but what I've been seeing is that Durga on the battlefield manifests Kali, comes out of her third eye.
Mm.
Um, the way I've been kind of seeing this is having a pathway towards Durga is only like your protection on that path is also having a connection with Kali, where Kali is going to
Mm.
make sure that you're doing everything in the pursuit for her at the ultimate end. But it's almost like Batuk has a pathway with Durga, and I'm learning about this right now, and it's almost seems like I have my path headed towards Kali, and I'm taking, maybe a longer route,
Mm.
with maybe some distractions on its way to reach that same end goal. But the reason why is because I feel like there's a lot of physical dharma that I'm going to have to do. Like I don't need anything material anymore. Like a lot of the stuff I own, I'm gonna donating most of that. I want to get into acting out of all things. It's always been a dream of mine. Podcasting has been too, and I want to. I don't think I'll be teaching spiritual knowledge, but I want to have a podcast of my own starting next week, and I'm planning on going just to one of your videos inspired me when you're kind of saying that the energy in the heart, whether it's Krishna, Allah, Yeshua, is all the same energy. And so I plan to go to a mosque and interview someone who's Muslim from there. And not that I'm, you know, I feel like I'm already in a place where I'm not looking for anything from them, but trying to get an understanding and try to get a middle ground because just with the way things are right now, there's so much
Mm.
divide between religions and none of it really makes sense. People are all in pursuit of the same thing. Why are we arguing over the name or the pronunciation of the same energy that relies in the heart? Um, so that being said, I feel like there needs to be like Durga seems more of a path of material gain,
Mm.
but in order for to protect the Dharma. Like if you look at someone like Sadhguru, he has wealth, he has influence, but he's doing it in the name of protecting the Dharma. And if Sadhguru never, charged money for his programs, or if he never, uh, asked for anything in return, he wouldn't have temples here in the United States and Tennessee and
Mm.
elsewhere. And so to me, it seems like you need to, use that wealth, even though with detachment in order to protect Dharma and protect, the world here.
Yeah, true. The thing about what I learned about Durga, right? The little
Mhm.
I know about Durga, that is, every year in India, we celebrate Navaratri. So, Navaratri means we are celebrating the nine manifestations of Durga. So, I'll be I'll be telling all the Durga names right now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so the Navadurgas are first is Shailaputri. So wait, I'll show the picture.
And yeah, all this I'm learning right now, so I'm not an expert on any of them. I'm still in the process of learning all of them.
Yeah. So this is Shailaputri. Then next is Brahmacharini. So this is Brahmacharini. So this is more of the celibacy type of
Mhm.
Devi. And uh, Chan Chan is this Chandra. I forgot the name. Wait. Like I'm very well versed with the Dashama Vidyas, but
Yeah,
Durga I'm a bit. So
it's
next is Chandraghanta Devi. So this is Chandraghanta Devi, and next is Kushmanda. So this is Kushmanda Devi. So if you observe right, the Durga manifestation have tiger or lion like cat.
mhm,
Yeah. Then this is Skandamata. Skandamata. That this is Skanda Kartikeya Subramanya, the Ajna Chakra initiate, right? So that is Kartikeya Subramanya. Skanda,
mhm,
his name is also called as Skanda in some parts of India. And Skandamata means his mother. And Katyayini, this is Katyayini. And finally, this is Kalaratri. So
mhm.
Kalaratri is on donkey, see.
Yeah.
So the thing is, many people confuse Kalaratri with Kali, but that is not true. This Kalaratri is not Kali actually. It's the seventh day of Navaratri, and it is different. I feel it has similarities with Kali, however, and this is Mahagauri on cow, Mahagauri, and last one is Siddhidatri. So the one who gives siddhis.
Mhm,
So what I realized in Navaratri is during Navaratri we have to maintain that celibacy, cleanliness, the sattvic nature inside us. We have to eat sattvic food, bath daily, uh, and and not involve ourselves in any sexual activity. So the Navadurgas require that amount of dedication of sattvic nature, and if we don't have that sattvic nature, right, it is like we are hypocrites because
mhm.
uh, even Vaishnavites, that is, whoever prays to Vishnu, no, completely, we have to maintain that sattvic nature. Otherwise, it is like a hypocrisy because we are praying to that deity, but we are not maintaining the deity's personality. Even Hanuman, Krishna, Vishnu, we have to maintain that celibacy. But the reason I chose Dasha Mahavidya because since childhood I was feeling like an hypocrite. That is, I used to have so much tamasic and rajasic gunas, um, like regarding food or regarding sexual activities or whatever, and I didn't feel that Vaishnavism is my cup of tea, and that's why uh, I felt like a hypocrite when even though my family belongs to the Vaishnavite background, I felt like an hypocrite. Then that's why I wanted to involve myself in the tantra, that is Dasha Mahavidya, because Dasha Mahavidyas, they don't care about the tamasic and rajasic gunas. They are open to all people, and that's why I feel like Kali Yuga, right? The yuga where tamas and rajas guna is too much in the surrounding. I guess the tantric deities are like more suitable for the Kali Yuga people than the sattvic form of deities. So that's why this knowledge has to be like
Yeah.
spread across.
Yeah, I no, I agree with that too. I was questioning the same thing, and this is where I'm still learning on this. But I was basically guided, and then I saw a video saying that um, when you invoke Batak and you're on the path towards Kali, you're able to basically lean into Durga and again, it's still leading you to the path of Kali, where uh, on the battlefield, Durga, Kali comes from Durga's forehead. This is what I read. But again, this is stuff I'm just glancing at online. And that's when Kali is unleashed on her forehead. So Kali's there to make sure you don't go too far with these things, but it's to say to, you know, be able to handle these elements of like material gain without letting it, you know, without allowing it to uh, corrupt you in a sense. Um, but yeah, I'm learning about, and I do agree with that, especially at these times that we need to have um, much more, you
Mm.
know, to have people be, we're in Kali Yuga age, so not to have people think they need to be too hard on themselves in these times. And I am almost seeing this as, you know, I think every nation has its own kind
Mm.
of pathway with the deities, and this is kind of what I'm being led on to. But yeah, I've seen TRS, Mr. Nandi, talk about how there's going to be a spiritual revolution, revitalization coming to India, and I very much think you're part of that with everything that you're teaching, and the pathway that you've set up for people, because it's very direct, very potent path. And I think it's just wonderful to have that spread to everyone. And then again, I'm still questioning why I'm having this deterrence of path. But I had back in like July, I had an experience where I was just laying down in bed, and I'm kind of strange because I have, since I was a kid, I actually have this scar here.
Mm.
And I was told when I got it from hitting my head on the fireplace, but I was told that when I was getting driven to the hospital and was getting the stitches put in, that I wasn't crying at all. And from my memories of it is I was out of my body this whole time, so I wasn't experiencing that pain. And then from that point on, I had out of body experiences randomly, and um, I attributed those to just dreams as a kid. And then once I became older, I started to realize what it was that was happening. Um, And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Um, but yeah, what was the previous question? I think I just kind of blanked out here.
That Durga coming out of Kali. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
Kali
yeah,
coming out of
yeah.
Durga.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I had this basically whole experience where I was laying down in my bed, and I was able to leave my body, but there's really no point in that. When I rested fully in my body, then I was in this plane where I was able to create things around me. Once I relaxed into that more, I saw an image of Durga. And it is funny because during Navdurga, I didn't know what this holiday was. And I did the exact opposite of everything you're supposed to do. I started eating meat. I was had so much energy in this time that I wasn't thinking about showering all the time. So I almost did everything the exact opposite the way you're supposed to do it, which almost leads me to believe that Durga rides a lion, and I was very much embracing that lion type of energy where I was consuming the meat, and I was doing all the things that I typically wouldn't do that weren't sattvic in nature. Because before I was very sattvic, where I didn't eat any meat, anything like that, and then all of a sudden I had this urge to eat eggs. I had this urge to start eating chicken again, and I started embracing that. And recently, I realized that I it was good for me to start doing that because I went on this yoga retreat trip, and I couldn't eat any of the non-veg foods because they were just had so much garlic and onion in them, and I couldn't do that. The only protein I was able to get was from fish sources like fish and meat. So it was
Mm.
definitely a eye-opening experience for me because ever since I started down this pathway, I abstained from eating meat,
Mm.
um, and all that, and then it just kind of had a resurgence of almost my body felt like it needed that.
Uh, the thing is, right, this part of Tantra, that is the 18-month program, it doesn't require that dietary restriction. As I tell in my Uchishta Ganapati initiation, this whole path doesn't require any kind of restriction of diet, and any restriction in sexual activity, any restriction in um, cleanliness. There's nothing in this path. Just complete focus on mantra sadhana. That is, uh, during mantra sadhana, you have to have complete concentration, and whatever helps your concentration to increase, you have to do that. You have to not care about uh, what you eat, what you drink, what you like, whether you are celibate or not, because those are like the dualities, that we feel guilty about some things, right? If we do something, we feel guilty about it, and that should not happen in this path. So tantra is basically like crushing all the dualities and just focusing on mantra sadhana, because concentration is the most important in this sadhana. Whereas in the other paths like Vedic sadhana, right? That is of Navadurga or Vaishnavism, Shaivism, it requires one kind of uh, what to say, sattvic life, because as you follow sattvic life for maybe 1 month, 2 month, that will become a part of you. That sattvic nature, right? That calm nature uh, will be how, by putting tulsi in uh, on right ear, and like drinking tulsi water every day. So that will become a part of you, that sattvic nature, and maintaining that sattvic nature throughout the life is like very difficult, and it is for that temperament people. And this path is for people who don't want to feel guilty in the sattvic path, who want
Mm.
to completely devote themselves to the deities and not care about the uh, disciplines needed. So this is like a path where discipline is not needed. Like the deities don't care about your discipline; they just care about your love for them, your concentration. It's like a very open-minded girlfriend. Like the tantric deities are like a very open-minded girlfriend who doesn't care about your disciplines. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm still very much like on that
Mm,
path too, because and I'm still like connecting with the same deities, even like jumping ahead forward, connecting with trying to listen to the mantras of the other deities. And it still feels very much like my life is set out in that same motion, where um, in Vikarani Kali's month, that's when I was on this yoga retreat making all these, I didn't have many friends before this, but I was making a lot of like more physical relationships with people and friendships with people.
mm,
And then when it kind of came to November 17th, when I had started Hanuman month, and that was when I was again, the yoga retreat I went to is just Western yoga, so just yoga asanas. So I was trying to do my best to be like, hey, like this is one aspect of many. Like you need to focus on the meditation more. And I was even opening up, like sharing the stories of Hanuman with everybody there, even if they weren't, fully grasping. Some people
mm,
just take those as just stories instead of like real, actual, live, you know, intelligent beings that are around protecting us. Um, and so I very felt much like that, where a lot of power is building up in me. And then December 17th would be when would have started doing the Kamala mantra. But my practice has been a bit not as disciplined as before, where I'm more so when I feel like listening to a mantra, I'll listen to it and recite it. So I still feel very much connected to this path, but it seems like it's happening parallelly with other things that I'm now being drawn towards. So I want to at least learn more about that aspect, if I have some calling towards it,
mm,
um, to kind of, yeah, be open to that and learn about that as well. Um, but yeah, ultimately, yeah, it's been amazing too. Like my words can't even like go beyond where I was 3 4 months ago till now, and having a physical guru for the time being was exactly what I felt like I needed. And to be able to talk to someone else for similarly minded as me, and now I feel very excited, like, and very entrusted in myself and on this path to keep
mm.
going, even if it's on my own independently.
Oh. I was really excited to initiate you with Akshobha Bhairav. Like he
Hmm.
has a different vibration when compared to Batuk Bhairav, right? So Batuk Bhairav teaches us like a detachment from the materialistic things, like our carnal desires, like food, sleep, sex. Like he tries to bring us more towards the sadhana path. He tells us that sadhana has more pleasure than any of the lower desires. So that is what Batuk Bhairav teaches us. And but Akshobha Bhairav is on a different level only, because uh, like Batuk Bhairav walks, like he takes you to places. With his hand, he will walk you through the mountains and all that stuff. But Akshobha Bhairav doesn't do anything. Like, he just sits on Kailash. He just sits in Kailash Parvata. Like, simply he sits with eyes closed, and he doesn't care whether you're coming, whether you're going. He's like there. So you just have to like meditate in front of him. So that is what Akshobha Bhairav is like. Uh, we j- Even if we want to take his blessing, right, he doesn't lift his hand, he doesn't lift his leg, nothing. Just he sits same position whole day. And we just have to observe him, like what is he doing. So if you observe closely Akshobha Bhairav's mind, right, you will realize that all the thoughts that are getting is like getting extinguished. Like as soon as one thought pops up, right, maybe of let's say uh, going to shop, buying some bananas, apples, that thought will get extinguished right when it pops up. So that's what Akshobha Bhairav is like. Whatever thought you get, it just vanishes away into oblivion. So that is what you learn in the Akshobha Bhairav month, to destroy all your thoughts. So Vishuddha Chakra means like all that Samudra Manthan happens, right? In Vishuddha, that is, there are no good nor bad. There are no devatas nor rakshasas.
Mhm.
There's nothing basically. In Vishuddha Chakra, you learn that all thoughts are just like distractions to the truth, because the truth, the singularity, um, the pure consciousness does not have any thoughts in it, and it's just pure awareness. And yeah, I wanted you to like reach that Akshobha Bhairav month.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I have during the whole like process, like of
Yeah.
feeling, going through the awakening process, there was Ashkopaya Buddha mantra that I was listening to, which I don't know the connection besides the Ashkopaya being the beginning part. This is a Buddhist version of Ashkopaya Bhairava. Um, but yeah, I've been it's more challenging with Ashkabaya Bhairava and Vikarani Kali because there aren't very many there's not a lot of information out there with both of them and not a lot of mantras I'm able to find on my own. Hanuman Chalisa. Yeah, Hanuman Chalisa. I was listening to a lot of that last month as well. Um, but yeah, I almost just feel like it was time for me to, have a vision of my own as well. Also, like Vishnu is very prominent for me now,
Mm,
because I've been given different visions of what I can do with my future, and I almost see like it makes sense for us to work parallelly instead of for me to be initiated any further because I feel confident enough where I can um, bring what I need to here in the States as while you are parallelly going back to India come January and teaching your teachings as well.
mm,
Because I think it's going to take a lot of time and creativity to bring these teachings to the US because, you have like 50% of the country that's very much, I mean, just a lot of people who are very close-minded to just one pathway being just Jesus. Uh, and, it's just kind of how do we bring these teachings to people who are very stuck in like Abrahamic religious ways? I don't know how to communicate that, but I know it's going to take time and creativity. And I see Batuk as, he's like a child form of Shiva, and so to kind of have that
mm.
childlike wonder and energy to carry that with me for some time. I don't know. It's just the same guidance that led me out here to begin with. That's saying stick with Batuk for some time, and continue the path to Kali parallelly as well.
Mm. Yeah, okay. So then, yeah, can you close up on the picture that you have? Like many people are asking that
Yeah.
uh,
We
uh,
got the future.
the picture
Oh, the
behind it.
picture. I didn't like picture.
Yeah,
Future. Yeah, this is
yeah.
Mahakal, I believe, tapestry. I got this in Nepal, and we were
Oh,
told it's made by um, like actual monks. The people I was there with, they all got invited to similar, like there were like these like tour guides
mm,
there that would like um, invite us to shops like and give us tea and everything, and then they would like try to sell these on top of it, and everyone thought that they were getting scammed, but I'm like, I don't see this as a scam. It's very beautiful art, and it's been good to have up hanging on my
mm,
wall. Like I feel very protected with it. So I don't know, but all the other people I was with, a lot of them from the West or from Australia, and they were like, "Oh, we got scammed into buying this," and I'm like, "You didn't have to buy it."
mm.
But yeah, they're very very cool paintings. I'm very happy to have one.
Yeah. So what's that? Ginger ale?
Ginger ale, yeah, not beer. It's ginger ale.
Oh, yeah. Let us force that company to sponsor this video.
Absolutely, yeah.
Read.
And it's not that I'm like
Mm,
have any rules on not drinking. It's just I don't like it anymore. Like it just
mm,
like I used to in college, and like now it just like makes me tired and makes me stupider, and also will
mm,
make me say more to people that maybe I probably shouldn't say. Like, if you get me drunk, I'll just be talking about like transcendental knowledge, and then the person sitting next to me is like, I have no idea what you're saying, but okay. So
mm.
yeah,
Yeah, and also like the thing is before, right, during my engineering days, I used to drink alcohol, but um, I didn't like the taste of it. That is, I drank it for the effect, that is the high, but I didn't like the taste of alcohol. And I don't know like why. I think everyone drinks it for the high only, right? Like nobody likes the taste.
yeah. I know, and
Mm,
like that's the thing. As I was like recently, I was drinking like mocktails and stuff. I'm like, wow, these taste good. There's no alcohol in them. They actually like have a good taste to it, and there's no like gross aftertaste to it. So I've been enjoying that more. And then I just don't feel
mm,
a need for it either. Like I feel comfortable enough around people, and drinking now makes me more socially anxious because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna slip up and say something stupid. So I'm not a huge
mm.
fan of that anymore.
You know you have to charge the drink, right? Whatever you're having, alcohol or not non-alcohol. What you have to charge it with the Uchishta Ganapati and Tripura Bhairavi mantra. That time, like whatever ailment you have inside the body will be resolved. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've still been doing that, like reciting the Tripura Bhairavi mantra as I eat, to slow down and enjoy the food more, and then also like been
Mm,
very appreciative to basically thank my like the fact that I have food in front of me every time I eat, um, and yeah, like I've connected very well with those deities now as well, both Uchista Ganapi and Tripura Bhairavi, and just kind of realizing the force that feeds us that we kind of overlook. And when
mm,
I'm feeding my cat now, I realize what's acting through me in order to make sure my cat is fed. So yeah, both of those months were wonderful, and now I'm like very much I just enjoy food a lot more now, which
right.
is definitely a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you show your cat to the audience?
Yeah, let me go get him. He's
He
around.
has a very cute cat, guys. Cat reveal.
Cat reveal.
So cute. Like it has so much fur, right? Like when compared
Yeah.
to Indian cats, I feel like US cats have more hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's
I
a medium here. Got him in New Mexico.
like I think it's because of the cold weather, right? They have more hair in them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So does it do like meow on command? Like if you tell do meow, no.
No, he only meows when he's like hungry or if he wants to go into my room. I don't let him in my room because I have like all of like my stuff
Mm,
that I don't want my cat touching or ripping apart in there.
mm.
So like I can't have him in there, but he likes that space.
Yeah, he's like admiring you, right? What's the name reveal?
Atum, Atum, which I realized I didn't know it at the time because
Mm,
it's like the name of an Egyptian god, but I was reading something that was saying that's basically the Egyptian version of Shiva almost. And I realized that like a few months ago, and I'm like, oh, that's a funny coincidence. I didn't know that. I'm like, well, it was meant to be.
oh, a female cat or male cat?
Male cat.
Oh, yeah, cute. It's like fat also, right? A bit.
A little bit, yeah. All cats
Yeah.
are a little bit.
Mm.
But yes, we want the cat to transcend. That's the goal. So he can be a human in his next life.
Yeah. So what does it do? Like any special thing that your cat does when compared to ordinary cats?
Yeah, he's just very friendly like a dog where he'll just come up and cuddle with you, which is some cats are
Mm,
scared and skittish and they don't do that, but he's very
yeah.
calm, which is nice. But I don't know, he likes to like have like a toy on a string. He's obsessed with doing that and playing with that. So that's how he gets his exercise.
Oh. It suits your Durga path of
Yeah,
Durga, right? Cat way.
exactly. Yeah, 'cause
Mm.
I see myself as a lion, and now I have a cat that sees me as a lion too, I bet.
Atom. So it's pronounced atom.
Atom, yeah.
Atom. Okay. So does it like look at you back when you call it as atom?
No, I don't think he really knows his name. I've tried, but
Uh, uh, then guys, you have any question to the cats? I mean to the cat. Uh,
let me see.
hmm.
Yeah, someone says alcohol spirit is the one that takes our spirit. That's true. When you let something control you like that, that's kind of the thing I've
Mm,
seen with like alcohol in moderation can be fun if you're under control of it, but once it's
mm,
taking over, then it's like, okay, well, who's the one in the passenger seat now if it's not you? So definitely
mm.
something to be careful of.
Jacob is telling his friend has the same name as Atom
No
itself.
way. That's so funny.
Mm, yeah. Then
I
does
did have
Jacob have pet?
hmm.
Does Jacob have pet, or is he like no pet house?
Yeah, I was curious when you talk about how there's different planets associated with the different chakras. When we have the planets that are below, like the three lower chakras, are there still like heavenly planets for people to exist in, or are they? Um, is that not until we reach the heart chakra? That's more the heavenly planets.
Yeah, I will tell that in detailed manner. Wait a minute. Yeah, so Jacob has dog and cat. So he has to come to live. Let us force Jacob to come to
That's
live
so
for
we can see
showing
both.
his dog and cat. Hmm. Okay, so the planets, right? What I observed was, oh, you mean the Navagraha or you mean the astral planets? What do you mean?
I don't know either one. I guess it's new to I guess those are both new to me. So yeah, just like if there's a planet, like I guess a planet associated with the heart chakra, I would imagine that would be, you know, the heavenly higher realm. And it's just the question of if someone is going to a planet associated with one of the lower three chakras, is that um, still a transcendental planet, or is that another kind of way to trap someone? Like if they're, you know, someone's into carnal desires and then they
Mm,
go onto a planet that's all to do with that chakra. Is
mm,
that, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, is that something where it's like higher than this physical plane still, where it's still like a heavenly planet they can enjoy themselves on, or is it you're there and then you still have the need to transcend to higher chakras?
Um, See, the thing is, Dasha Mahavidyas are also associated with the what is that? Navagraha. I will just mention the Navagrahas related to Dasha Mahavidya. Um, where is that? Interest, astrology. Yeah. So Dashama Vidyase. Kali is associated with Saturn. Tara is associated with Guru, that is Jupiter. Tripura Sundari is associated with Buddha, that is Mercury. Bhuvaneshwari is associated with Chandra, that is Moon. Tripura Bhairavi is associated with Lagna, ascendant. And Chinnamasta is associated with Rahu. Um, that's the constellation, and Dhumavati is associated with Ketu, that is also a constellation, and Baglamuki is associated with Mangala, that's Mars, and Matangi associated with Surya, that is Sun, and Kamala is associated with Shukra, that is Venus. So these are the planets associated with Dasha Mahavidyas. But I know the question you asked was about astral planets. So what I feel is that lower three chakras, right? The chakra of uh, the food, sex, sleep, shelter, fame, power, money, all that are related to the physical planets, and the above ones that are the anahata, that is pure love. The thing is, if you observe in uh, on earth, if you want to fall in love with some girl or boy or whoever it is, the other person or you yourself might look at their background, like what do they do for their work, like the financial, the emotional background. uh, a lot of background checks you will do just to analyze whether that person suits your temperament. And like it's not unconditional love. That is the love you get on earth is not unconditional, it's conditional love. Even the parents love, right, that we get, it's conditional only because they are loving us because we are their children. If we are not their children, they wouldn't love us. If we were some strangers, our parents wouldn't love us. So that's not
Mhm.
unconditional, that's conditional. Even the dogs, cats that love us, right, they love us because we take care of them. um, and we love them because of that appearance, that is they look cute and all that stuff. We take care of babies, that is babies, because they look cute. Like if they don't look cute, I don't think humans would take care of babies, like all the ones who cry whole day. And so what I mean is the love on earth is based upon appearance. It is based upon your financial stability sometimes, and is sometimes based upon emotional stability. So it has a lot of factors, and it is conditional love. So that is why the love is not pure on earth, because it is uh, polluted with the lower three chakra desires.
Mhm.
But in the astral planets, these lower three chakras don't exist. The Kundalini starts from the body, starts from Anahata chakra. So since the astral body starts from Anahata chakra, the love is pure. That is, one astral being loves another astral being without any condition. It doesn't see the background. It doesn't see what you have, what you don't have. It's pure love. And as I told in my previous video, astral sex is like you just merge with the other being, uh, and just enjoy their presence. So that is what the all the four chakras, right? Top four chakras merge, and uh, they pleasurize themselves through that, like through that closeness, not through sexual activities, because the Swadhisthana chakra don't exist in the astral realm. And that is why they merge with only the four chakras, and they enjoy each other's company. So that is, and also astral realm doesn't have gender. It because gender is based on Swadhisthana. So if your genitals are male genitals, then it is male. If it is female genitals, it is female. So uh, gender is based on Swadhisthana. But since Swadhisthana doesn't exist in the astral realm. There is no gender for any soul. Every astral body is same. The astral body remembers the previous life. That is, it remembers, oh, I was a boy in on earth, I was a girl on earth, I lived as boy 5 lifetimes, 7 lifetimes as girl. So the astral body remembers the previous incarnation on earth, which was male and female. But when it enters the astral, it has to be neutral itself, because it remembers all the lives which was both male and female, due to which it feels neutral, like a trance. So that is what we realize in the astral planets. We realize that, oh, I was never a boy, I was both, I was female in some lives, I was male in some lives. We feel like a transgendered species at the astral planet, and that's why we give more importance to the love rather than the sex part in the astrals. And uh, so beyond the astral, right, it is, there's no love also. If you go beyond the astral planets to the causal planets, the love disappears. There is no love. There's just pure knowledge and pure dreaming and creating universes. So in the causal realm, you learn how to create universes using your purest form of knowledge. The knowledge doesn't have a good bad in it. It embraces both good and bad. For example, let's say a causal being, if he has duality, that he has to create a good universe, then he would create a universe where there would be no extinction, there would be no destruction, there would be just pure joy, and the earth would be filled with like only good people. And that's why the knowledge to create universe is, it doesn't have duality, it has both good and bad in it. So that is what we learn in the causal realm. In the causal realm, we learn that knowledge has no polarity. Knowledge is just purest form of creating universes. So that is what we learn in the causal realm. Yeah, I think we have to progress that way itself. That is
Mhm.
first astral, this is astral. These are astral, and this is causal. These two chakras are
Yeah.
causal in nature, and these two chakras are astral in nature. Yeah,
And then there's more above that that we can't comprehend as well.
yeah. Above that is it is beyond the dreaming part. It is beyond the Garbhodaksha Vishnu part.
And then yeah, so like that being said, if somebody were to balance all three of their lower chakras, are they basically set then for transcending to higher planets if the three lower chakras are balanced, or does there need to be a full balance in the system?
The thing is, many people confuse spirituality with the celibacy. The thing is, we
Yeah.
need not be celibates. We need not restrict our diet. We need not do anything. The only thing you have to do in spirituality is you have to learn how to love someone unconditionally. That is the only thing you have to learn in a spirit to transcend. Because the planet that we are going to, that is the astral planets, their people love everyone unconditionally, and that's why we have to learn how to love unconditionally, and we have to forget about the when you learn how to love unconditionally, right, automatically all the desires go away. That is the lower
Mhm.
chakra, it automatically go. No, you need not force yourself to quit those lower desires.
Yeah, and that's actually something I had a corporate trip in Cancun, and when I was there, I realized that I was seeing everyone there. I didn't care about their past, their history, like how much they ate, what they ate. I didn't care about how many relationships they were in or like how many people they had sex with. I didn't care about, you know, their wealth or lack of wealth. Like I was treating everyone the same, like whether it was, someone working there at the hotel, at the resort, or if it was the CEO of the company, I talked to them the same way. Where it was great to
Mhm.
do that because I had no fear talking to the CEO. I was able to talk to them just like any other human. And then same with, the employees there. I treated them with the same respect as I would the CEO because it didn't matter anything that they had in their past.
Mhm.
Um, which led me onto the path of being like, oh, my love is unconditional. and then I was trying to translate it to the girl that I met on that trip because I had made my feelings too clear, and then I was like, oh well, it's unconditional love, so that's not going to go away. And then uh, I don't know, because yeah, like it's I can love everyone, but it's different. It's not like I want to have a relationship with everybody, a physical relationship with everyone, because that's not the way to go either. But there's definitely a difference between love and then a physical attraction, having a physical relationship. So there's definitely that separation that I think a lot of people nowadays get love confused with physical attraction rather than, you know, genuine love in their heart.
Mm, true. And also, we have to know that relationship, marriage, the need for wife, husband, right? That is itself selfish in nature, because we are trying to uh, like bond ourselves. The concept of relationship, right? That uh, if I go into relationship, the partner has to love me back, and similarly, I have to love her back. So that itself is selfish in nature. If you observe, th- that is not um, what to say. It's not the true form of unconditional love. It is a construct created by the earthly planet so that people don't feel left out. For example, let's say a single human stays single for maybe till age 50 or age 60. So that single human might feel sometimes lonely, that he has to have someone in his life, either for physical or emotional support. And that's why that construct was created, called as marriage, relationship, and all that stuff, so that people won't feel left out in the society. And that we have to know that that is not unconditional love. The true unconditional love is when you uh, love someone even if they don't love you back. That is, one-sided love is the truest unconditional love.
Yeah.
But if you expect something in return, then that is different. That is conditional love. So relationship itself is conditional love. uh, Even in the astral planets, right? If you observe, the two beings, two astral beings don't force each other to love each other. It happens naturally. And that's what we learn from those beings. And um, so yeah, it gets complicated, because the unconditional spiritual people are unconditional lovers. And whenever they enter relationship, right, they they feel suffocated, because now they have to love selfishly. They Because they never loved selfishly since childhood. They loved everyone unconditionally, but suddenly when you are put into relationship, now you have to love conditionally and selfishly. And that's why spiritual people find it very difficult to fall in love and all that stuff.
Yeah, and also it's hard to, you know, reserve all the love you have inside just for one person, and that can almost be overbearing on some people, where if you try to have that was my thing of finding the ultimate one, it almost seemed like love is too grand to just pour into one person only. And yeah, a lot of part for me wanting to have a physical relationship is having a physical family so that I can carry on my teachings and what I know for future generations. And so, because again, like Earth is in the, you know, third spot from the sun right now, and as it transforms, from my understanding, you know, being in the third planet away from the sun, this can be a make or break society where I veer on the side. Let's make sure this is a utopia we had ourselves into instead of a dystopia, because there's a lot of agents out there trying to make it dystopia, with all these wars and stuff going on. So that's been a big part of why, you know, I want to have a family and everything like that. So I can make sure that these teachings are passed down for future generations and it doesn't just end with me. Um, because I have a lot to share and a lot to give, and I don't want to venture out and leave myself to, you know, like my idea before meeting this girl was very much of the mindset like if I couldn't find someone here in the US soon, then I would venture out to India to find someone like minded and, you know, live a smaller life and scale, but now I'm kind of inspired to live a bigger life and scale so I can have more of an impact um, for generations to come.
Mm. So why do you think it broke? Why do you think it didn't work out?
Yeah, I mean, I know it had to happen the way it happened because um, my mindset of wanting to take someone to the end to transcend with wasn't exactly entirely romantic, because my mindset would be, oh, things didn't work out, then that's okay. I had my time for a physical relationship. Now I'll venture off in the scheme of things. If like down the road the relationship didn't work, then I'd go off to India and find a mountain to basically meditate in and remove myself. And I think that mindset wasn't healthy going into the relationship with the person that had, you know, was more in love with, the divine play, Leela and um, Maya itself, and wanted to save that amongst everything. I think that's the reason why it didn't work out. And there was also just a complication of all the downloads I was receiving. I couldn't tell if it was an appropriate timing to share this all with a person that I only had um, spent like a few days with in Cancun, and then it was kind of radio silence. So I didn't want to say too much or to
Mm.
scare them off, but it was just like I felt like I had to say what my heart wanted me to say. And that's the thing. If I never see her again, it doesn't work out, that's fine. But it's given me inspiration to have a vision of my own and to create a future of my own. And so, irregardless, like she gave me inspiration to do that. Whether or not she's part of it or not doesn't matter, because I've been given duty, I've been given a role to fulfill, and you know, at the end of the day, if it doesn't go out the work the way I don't want it, like it doesn't work out the way that I want it to, I have backup plans, I have options. But for now, I'm pursuing that vision with full heart going forward. Um, like I said, I plan next week to start podcasting, and then from there, I want to hopefully make it into becoming an actor. Um, because I think that there needs to be people in the US that have accumulated wealth that are using it to protect the Dharma and to bring these ideas to, the West. Because there's a lot of people with like the New Age that's here in the West that they're very much like, they talk about protect your own light. Uh, don't worry about everybody else. Just focus on yourself. And to me, I see a lot of fireflies in the US who they have a bright light, but we're not working together. So it's like we need to start working together so we can have bonfires that people can actually see, instead of all having independent light sources saying, oh, I just worry about my own path. I think if we want to save things, people need to come together and with their spiritual knowledge to actually change things, because we're only as strong as our component parts. So if we view anything like a business or any organization like the human body and have the chakra systems in there needs to be component parts that every person needs to work together to bring upon some final product or option that is going to change things. um, so yeah, that's a big part of all this, is I'm trying to find more like-minded people here in the US. And there's plenty of new age people, but there's plenty of new age people that turn to things like plant medicine, and they continuously go back to see the doctor to get their medicine, and there's really no end to that. And I think a huge part of it is to having people understand the deities and the causal plane that exists, and the difference between the astral and the causal. The way I see it is a lot of people who have like spirit guides, so to speak, are seeing these on the astral plane, and it's hard to tell if what it is that's actually communicating with them. Because from my understanding, the causal plane is more still and unchanging, and that's where all the deities reside in. And they basically have a say in what happens and what people see in these astral planes. But for someone to take a substance and then say, "Oh, well, I saw a praying mantis creature," it's like, well, what? is that? What is that? Is it just the king of the praying mantises that you're seeing? Or,
mm,
it's important, I think, for people to connect directly with the divine and understand that
mm,
connection exists, because it's powerful and it's not going to mislead you into worshiping a bug or something like that.
mm. True. And yeah, can you tell me the roots you have with Trump? You told that you have some
Yeah.
roots with Trump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Mm,
any of this was important until the crown chakra opened up, because that deals with ancestral history. Um, and yeah, without saying like too much, because I want to make sure I veer on the side of things I'm confident about. Um, yeah, like he's distant cousin of mine. We shared the last name Christ. His grandmother came to America with the last name of Christ. My great great grandfather came to the country and changed my last name from Christ to Christ. And I don't think there was any ounce of religion or anything from that generation going down. So I don't know why the name was changed. If it was just like, oh, this name is too popular, let me like change it so people don't know. Um, but I felt like it was probably more like of a disrespect out of religion.
mm,
Um, and so, like, that was kind of something that's interesting. Like with Batuk, I see him as my Kula Devata, not my Ishta
mm,
Devata, which is interesting because most people would be like, oh, well, your last name is Christ or Christ, so your Kula Devata is Jesus. But to me, it almost seemed like the disregard for those generations basically made it so there was an opening for a new deity to be born into my family, which I see that as Batuk now. And the whole process of this awakening was very like, there's so much like bizarre things that happened. Like I had a meditation where I had a flame, a candle lit below, like in between my legs, and I was like listening to Krishna mantra and also like Jesus music as well to make sure I opened my heart to both. And then that's kind of when this like energy was born into me, where I had unlimited energy for like. I feel like I didn't need to sleep, but then I realized, oh no, I do need to sleep, otherwise it's gonna throw me off. Um, but I had so much energy in me after that, and then I felt very deep connection with Batuk.
mm,
Um, but yeah, that's the thing is I know that there's a lots of obviously people have controversy about Trump. I think deep down he's out to do the right things. And there's a lot of like misinformation about what it is he plans on doing. I know a lot of people in the spiritual community, like in Western culture, they like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's part of his campaign, and he's got Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a Hindu. His parents immigrated here from India. Uh, he's working with Elon Musk in the Department of Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. And so it's hard for me to see all these people say like, "Oh, Trump is this and that," when he has like a very like openly Hindu uh, man in his cabinet. Um, and that to me, that was the person I wanted to be president when he was first running. He was running for the Republican nominee. And I'm like, oh, he's the one that we need. Because imagine a future where we have a Hindu American president. That would be incredible. And I think he's opening up the pathway for that to be a thing.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the person who is standing in that president position uh, is like puppeted. That is like as if you see Joe Biden, right? Like he doesn't know anything. Like he doesn't understand anything, and uh, I don't think it is being even Kamala Harris. Like I don't think uh, they know much things about what is going on. Like the whole thing is being controlled by someone more powerful and like in the background. And it's not Trump, it's not Joe Biden, it's not Kamala. Someone like that Pentagon, uh, whoever it is there, right? I think there is someone more powerful than these people, and they are controlling the all the affairs, foreign affairs, and
Yeah.
so What do you think
Yeah,
about
I mean,
that?
I think a lot of it is in the case with Trump, he's seen as the outsider who's not controlled by any influence. But in the case that he is, it's blackmail that's held against him. So it's okay, what is the dirt that you have against this guy in order to control him like that? Um, as far as as that goes, I've heard people blame, other I don't want to go into too much detail, but just the other forces at play, like um, the if you look at the conflict, if you look at the conflicts going on right now, Trump wants to pull out of the Ukraine war, and then we also have the Israeli war as well that's going on there. And some people will say, the state of Israel or anything like that, or Netanyahu, people like that. I've heard specifically David Icke, and I'm not saying this is true. This is what I'm hearing. David Icke was someone in the UK, and he's banned from all these different countries, but he went on air in the 70s or 80s, and he just had his awakening experience and told everyone that, oh, I'm God, we're all God. And then people were like, oh, you're trying to say that you're like the prophet. And he's like, no, 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 we're all connected directly to God from the same source. And then like his whole like career of being a news anchor and everything fell apart after that. People ridiculed him. But he's of the mindset, similar to what you were saying, if there's any central figure controlling both of them, he points the fingers at Netanyahu, and he says that this is basically, he's the one who's pulling the strings. And if you go beyond that, again, this isn't stuff that I can say is concrete or evidence. These are just what I've heard from other people. Um, and yeah, I can't say that I fully know. And I would imagine that whatever it is, it's something that the we're not. It's I think truth is stranger than fiction, and so I think whatever this controlling force is much more beyond our comprehension, to the point where it's going to deal with more spiritual matters that people are left uh, in the blank about. Um, but yeah, I can't say anything with 100% confidence because there's no
Mm,
strict evidence that points me to that besides intuition and trying to figure out who's behind um, puppeteering the political class. And
mm.
I would love to believe that Trump's someone who can break free from that, but I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. I feel Trump is the less puppeted president. Like when compared to the other party, Trump feels less like controlled by someone. He's like original on his own, right?
Yeah.
And someone is like RFK is the legend itself. RFK um, is what is the full form? I forgot. Uh, RFK.
Robert Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, he was short, right?
Short.
He was short. I mean,
Oh, his father was, and then
mm,
yeah, his father was shot, and then his uncle as well. His uncle was JFK, who was shot very similarly to how Trump was almost shot.
mm,
Um, so yeah, there's all that, and yeah, so he's basically seen as the torchbearer, trying to pass on what his father and uncle tried to do. But again, I'm trying to learn more into that as to the reasons why these things happened. And I want to make sure that, history doesn't repeat itself, where we don't have a figure like that being taken down.
mm,
And thankfully, yeah, the last instance, God stepped in the way, or some other force stepped in the way to make sure that he was able to continue. And what's really inspiring is, as soon as that happened, the first person that Trump called was RFK Jr. Um, and got him on board to his campaign. So I would imagine that anyone who has a near-death experience, it changes something within them, and I'd love to think that that changed things for the best, and it changed the projection for the future in the best way possible.
mm. True. And uh, the most political things I learn is from Family Guy.
I know. I've been watching more family. You recommended Family Guy and Phineas and Ferb as two shows to watch, and I'm like, I love both of them. And I've been watching, yeah, I've been watching a good amount of Family Guy recently too. Again,
Yeah, Family Guy and Rick and Morty. Like Rick and Morty is the best for like scientific stuff and all that, and Family Guy is good for understanding like the world. But they
yeah.
roast everyone, right? Like almost everyone.
And the thing that's funny too is like Family Guy basically exists on the astral plane where it's like there's no rules to what happens. You know, a character gets injured, oh, they're okay again. They get mad at each other, oh, it's happy family at the end. It's just like Peter living his life with Lois over and over again, having crazy adventures. And then I have one last question for you, like things I'm just trying to process myself. When it comes to past life experiences, and we'll make it turn it into like a coding or a programming thing as well with databases. Are past lives something that are one to one ratio, one to many ratio, where someone's like a past political figure could inspire many people, or is it really a one to one relationship there?
What do you mean by one to one and one to many in terms of past life?
Yeah, so like the energy of someone from their past life is, and then they go into another life. Is that, you know, the Atman or whatever it is that's like that's carrying through that energy, the soul itself? Is that something that could split up into multiple people, or is it just a one to one? Like you have your past life and then you reincarnate to another life? Because I guess you could say like, you know, from one point to the next, there's a huge upsurgence of population. So does that mean that I don't know if that makes sense. Like, is it a one to one ratio where you have past life and then you're reborn to another life, or is it like one person from their past life kind of is divided up into many other people in the next life? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I guess the one to one ratio is the only one that makes sense.
No, it doesn't work that way. Like, see, how consciousness works, I'll tell you. Like, the time is linear for only the humans, only the three-dimensional beings. Time is linear in fashion. But for the Atman, that is above the Atman, there is causal body. Then above the causal, there is that astral body, right? For that astral body, time is different. So it reincarnates into the body which has more of its properties. For example, let's say now Aditya has characteristics in the astral body is made of emotion and intellect, right? So Aditya has certain characteristics like he's spiritual in nature, and he likes to share knowledge and other properties. What is there? He likes masala dosa, all that, like the emotion attached with food, sex, uh, ego, uh, and all that, right? The emotional body of Aditya. So that is astral body. And also the that same emotional body has the intellect also of the Aditya, which can snap out of the reality. So the intellect means the snapping out of the reality part. So that is also there. So that everything is astral body. And that consciousness, that astral body will find a suitable body in the next incarnation. That is, if Earth doesn't have any suitable body for Aditya in the next incarnation, then it will not be born on Earth. Because uh, once Mother Nature realizes that, okay, Aditya's consciousness doesn't fit inside any physical bodied beings, then it will send it to the astral planets because it doesn't fit inside any physical body. So, but if the same consciousness fits inside um, some other past, like 20, maybe in 1995 or 1825, or if it fits, if that same emotional body fits exactly in 1825, or maybe in the um, 200 AD, or 200 BC, or maybe 10,000 years ago during uh, maybe in Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, or Satya Yuga. So if the consciousness fits in that time, then Mother Nature will ensure that Aditya's astral body enters the other, the physical body of the past in the sense like 5,000 years ago or like this. So the time is linear only for the human beings, the three-dimensional beings, but for our astral body, time is not linear in fashion. It can jump to any time, whichever it finds suitable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I was thinking it was that way. Um, yeah, because I don't want to go too much into past life experience, but yeah, that was something that also, but during but took Barrett of a month, kind of flooded into me as well and gave me a lot more of this inspiration. Um, but yeah, definitely a talk for later podcast down the road.
Mm, yeah, we may be born in 1725 also. Who knows? We
Yeah,
never know.
exactly. Yeah. So it can
uh,
even go backwards in time as well, as what you're saying. Our
yeah,
next information. Gotcha.
yeah. Because the whole point of existence is evolution. So if you have not learned exactly what needs to be learned for that soul or astral body, then it will send it to a time when that learning existed. For example, during the Satya Yuga, the knowledge of Vedas and Upanishad existed. So that consciousness will be sent to the Satya Yuga to learn about Vedas and from the Saptarishis themselves, so that it evolves. The whole point of manifestation, cosmic leela, is for the evolution of our soul. So Mother Nature will ensure that you go to that whichever timeline, and you learn the knowledge, you learn the basics of universe, and she will ensure that you will evolve. She will never let you degrade yourself. Even if you commit suicide and all, no, she will ensure that you will be born in a time when you can where you can explore your artistic skills, your passion, your expression, the knowledge, everything will be, she will take care of you. That's what I mean.
Awesome. And then last question, really. I was curious because I see different conflicting things about Kali K, about it being 400 years from now, it being, once the next yuga is predicted, which is like 300,000 years from now, to seeing things that figure could art like this is like on Quora, so these are just people like I don't know where they're getting their sources from saying that that's already happened. A lot of people that I talk to, like the Western audience, will see that more as like an archetype, is saying, "Oh, we're all Kali K, we're all the saviors of this world." But then when we come into everyone talking about how close we are to World War III, I was just curious what your thoughts on if Kali K is with us now, if it's more of like an idea and a people, or if there is one figure. Um, or multiple that are out there, because it seems like just as people are talking, it seems like we're very much on the crux of World War III now, which would be end of time scenario.
You mean Kali K in the Kalki? You mean Kalki?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Kalki. Okay. So you mean that savior guy?
Yeah.
Uh, it doesn't happen like in one human. It happens maybe in like multiple forms, like like how Sadhguru is doing, how Brahma Kumari, or how ISKCON, or there are a lot of spiritual organizations, right, trying to uh, explain about the Brahman, the Vedas, and also uh, what I mean is it happens like not in one by one individual. It happens by many individuals, that the avatar of we are all the avatars of Vishnu only, right? So dharma will take place in a collective manner rather than the individual manners. There is no one savior gonna come
Yeah.
and save all of us. It's not gonna happen. We are going to save ourselves together, not as one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a build up basically now, where Sadhguru is setting the stones for things to come, and like that was the first video I saw, was a Sadhguru video, and people say X, Y, and Z about him, but like again, he brought me onto this path. So it's like he's doing the world wonders, and people want to be like, oh, well, he makes money. But, if he never made a cent, then there would be no free Sadhguru videos. There would be no ashrams. There would be no, like, him coming to the West and being able to be on podcast or construct these like yoga centers and stuff. And it's like people need to realize that what he's doing is so grand in the scheme of things, where
Mm,
like anything that people will say, it's like, okay, well,
mm.
he's bringing this knowledge to a Western audience, he's bringing this to a wider audience. um so yeah, and then yeah, absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's happening. There is the dharma in Kali Yuga is like it's like a play only, cosmic play. It's fun to every timeline has its own fun. For example, the Kali Yuga has internet. It has the ability to video call, do go YouTube live, and spread knowledge through internet, but also same at the same time suffer the consequences of internet, that is like short term memory and all that. At the same time, Satya Yoga has its own benefits, like the pure teaching of the transcendental knowledge, however no video calling and all. Like if you want to go to other person, you have to teleport, maybe through mantras or something. You have to chant mantras and teleport yourself. So Satyuga is more about the internal technology. They focus more on internal technology, whereas Kali Yuga focuses more on the external technology. So, every yuga has its own leela in the sense storyline. Like, and it has been written like beautifully, like how it's gone. Otherwise, see, if there was no bad, or if everything was dharma only, if every person was dharmic in nature since the beginning of time till the end of time, then the leela would be so boring, right? The cosmic play would be so boring. It would be like there would be no fight. Everyone would be like peaceful, and so the leela would be boring. That's why this has been constructed. This storyline has been constructed by our own soul. The soul itself writes the story, and it goes into the story, and finally it learns how to come out of the story.
And then when it comes to having downloads, receiving downloads of information, how do you kind of determine if anything is like BS, like made up by the mind, or how do you determine if it's something that's true? For me, it's almost been like if I try to go against information that is true, I get like this nauseous feeling in my stomach. But I don't know how else to determine that, because sometimes my mind can be creative and create stories for myself, and the other time I'm receiving downloads that are purposeful and meaningful. So how do you differentiate the two? Or
uh, Everything that our mind creates, right, it first manifests in the causal, then astral, then it comes to our mind in the physical. So uh, what I feel is no download is irrelevant. Every download has its own value. We can't consider one thing as made up of the mind and another thing as divine or something, because according to me, all the thoughts are divine. There are no because as I told in my previous videos, that is the physical realm is when you open the eyes. So when you open the eyes, you wear a new set of goggles, the VR goggles. That is, you wear the goggles of the five senses. Then when you close the eyes, you change the goggles. You wear the goggles of the emotion and intellect. Then finally, when you go more deeper in meditation, you go to the Mahavidyas themselves. That is the goggle of the deities. You will be able to see the realm of the deities when you go more deeper in the meditation. That is the Turiya that people go through sometimes using DMT, LSD by mistake, right? So that is what happens even in meditation. That when you go very deep in meditation, you see the realm of the deities. That is which is near to the home screen. And when you go beyond that, that is maybe 5 ME or that 5 ME, uh, or what's the
I think it's,
DMT
yeah,
name?
5-MeO DMT. I think
Yeah,
that's what it's, yeah.
yeah, 5 MEO DMT. Yeah, yeah, correct. 5 MEO DMT. So that is like going directly to the home screen. Like you go to that Shiva state directly. So that's also happens when you go deeper in meditation. So you cross the realm of the deities and you go to realm where everything disappears. That is there is pure consciousness which doesn't require any questions answers. It still didn't create the storylines. That is, it didn't start writing the stories. Uh, it is devoid of any stories. So when it comes to the causal realm, it is like raw materials for to write the stories. In the astral realm, the storyline is being written down. What each character represents. Aditya is an emotional character. Brandon is a character who loves Bhairav, and this character loves Krishna. This character loves. So all the characters are being written down in the ast- astral, and finally it manifests in the physical. In the physical, they get the shape, the Aditya consciousness, the Brandon consciousness, the Purnima, Prasoon, everyone gets that shape. So we get the shape in the physical realm. So finally, we have to know the truth that it is just we are just part of the characters of the story, and we need not be in the story. Our true form is not the characters. Our true form is beyond the characters.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and that was something interesting too, is learning and understanding the relationship between causal and astral and physical, and that was putting my mind for a loop. Like especially with this girl, I was seeing things play out where like I see why all of this needed to happen. Like I couldn't tell if she was doing it purposefully, trying to teach me something, or if this was existing with the deities, basically trying to teach me a lesson, which was the case. Um, uh, but yeah, like it's very interesting to see how that interplay works now and to understand that. But yeah, yeah, this was very fun to sit here and chat. And I know like you have a very bright future with podcasting and everything. I expect to see you on TRS and everything, the Revenue Show at some point. Because I do think like exactly what you're bringing here is going to bring a revolution to India. And I think down the road, why I want to get into acting is so I can have a name for myself, eventually get into politics, not even like presidential considerations, but if I could be like an ambassador to like India or an ambassador to Nepal or any place like that would be incredible. But I think that going forward, like, this knowledge needs to be open here in the West. That way there can be understanding between India, the US, and then we can eventually have more of an allyship instead of, what we have now. And I feel people like Vivek Ramaswamy, even Trump's VP pick, his wife is Hindu, and seeing that kind of lineup, I think there's inspiration for the future. Especially just with all the other forces at play, it seems like these are two countries that need to come together more and have a more unifying relationship.
And also I think if you are looking for love with a spiritual, right, someone of the Kali Bhairava background, I think you will find that person in Nepal or India only, like maybe near Kamakya or maybe near Nepal or something, because I don't think there are many people in US or Europe who loves deities like you do. Like the
No,
amount
no.
of depth you have is beyond the Westerners, I feel.
I know
Yeah.
that was my disconnect too, and like I told this girl too. I was like, honestly, like this doesn't work out. Like I feel like I want to just move to India or somewhere like that so I can find somebody, so I have like a reason to stay in the physical and like want to like have more motivation to fulfill my aspirations. But I'm still on the lookout. Like I'll be traveling to Los Angeles pretty soon to get this journey started, and I'm open and mindful. Like there are celebrities out there, like Miley Cyrus does Lakshmi Puja. She then Robert Downey Jr. Talks about Krishna consciousness. I don't know to what degree the rest of his understanding goes to, but if he's anything like his character in Iron Man, then he probably has a pretty good, wide understanding of this. And then Hugh Jackman talks about transcendental yoga, transcendental, which they have never, use their platforms to fully back themselves up on that, but there definitely is in the US. And I have been seeing like Will Smith after he slapped Chris Rock, he went and saw Sadhguru after that. So I think there's some inspiration for it to be brought to the West, because I do want to stay in the West so I can, make sure that it's protected like here in the US and it's headed in the right direction. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like there's very few people who are spiritual in the US, and there's a lot of people who are into witchcraft and things like that, like my ex. And I was even her, I'm trying to explain to her, yeah, the thing that you're worshiping uh has a form on the causal plane, and this is how you would actually, really get your spiritual gifts working, and your manifestations will work even better. And she doesn't understand that
Mm.
either. And I'm like, you know it, I don't need to be any part of your life. I'm just trying to open people's minds up to how the causal plane works, because everyone is very, very much stuck in the astral plane. They have an experience, they see a form of something, and they aren't very aware of what could be behind that curtain, which exists on the causal.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you have a lot of responsibilities on your hand and duties you have to fulfill. But at the same time, you have to know that um, at the end of the day, you are not the responsibility or not, nor you are the duties. You are beyond that. So it's just you are playing the character Brandon, and you
Yeah,
have to remind yourself that, so that the worries, right, worries about the responsibility don't enter your consciousness. The
yeah,
consciousness must remain pure, and it must not be infiltrated by the worries that you have. You have to distance yourself from those responsibilities and worries, and but you have to fulfill it. You're fulfilling it for doing the karma yoga means just doing the duty for the sake of playing the cosmic leela. Otherwise there is no one to play the cosmic leela, right? It's just for fun.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm. So any end credits before uh, ending this live to the audience?
Let's see.
Mm.
Yeah, they say Ant Man is based on New City, and yeah, I've seen so many of that. Like, you have characters like Hulk and Cyborg. Oh, it's all bullshit. We're all posers. Oh no. But there's characters like Cyborg and Hulk that are very much, like archetypes
Mm.
of Hanuman, where it's like man versus monster. The struggle between Cyborg, is he more man or machine, or is Hulk more man, or is he more monster? Um, so yeah, I think there's a lot of truth and Marvel, and I think a lot of it just came down to Stan Lee and the stories he wrote, especially when you go kind of more into the more sci-fi things that they wrote about. They're like direct interpretations from like Vedic stories. Some of the characters are like they have like Vishnu type characters and all of that, where it's like, wow, this is getting really deep into the lore. Like, and people realize these aren't just comic books. There's, truth layered in there. But I think it's just the Western way to try to open people up to these concepts in a way that was previously just eradicated out. Like with the Native Americans that lived on this land, they were definitely on the verge of something, but they never were able to get to the extent that India had all this written knowledge and recorded knowledge. And so it's sad that a lot of that just got wiped out once
Mm.
the Westerners came in, because that's a lot of knowledge that if we know now, we would be in a much better place.
True, exactly. uh, Yeah, and the characters like Wolverine feels like the Narasimhan, like like very furious, like and Narasimha Avatar also like that only, right? He tears apart Hiranyakashipu's uh, stomach, and like to protect Prahlada from getting executed. So it
Yeah,
has a lot of
yeah, and he was the
similar.
tether to the universe, so he was the one that they needed in order for the universe to stay intact. So yeah, very important figure.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, that's it, right? Anything have we left? Yeah, we have left so many things in the chat. I think they are in their own. discussions.
Yeah, I'm
uh,
looking through.
Jacob is telling, can I join? The thing is, in YouTube Live for mobile has only two capacity, but like I was telling that maybe in uh, some day, the maybe in 2 3 days you can join for the YouTube Live whenever
Thank
you're
you.
free.
Yeah, thank you, Ella. Right. Yeah, and honestly, that's the thing is I'm very much detached to anything like any physical gain from this. Like a lot of this
Mm,
inspiration is if I can amount wealth, it's to give back to the people that supported me on my way. And obviously, like this group, like I, you know, had such a great transformation within 3 months, and there were a lot of people who helped me on the way, and like being able to help have wealth again is something where you visited Niagara Falls saying, "Oh, there should be a temple constructed here," and I'm like, "Yes, there should be," or something to worship that element that's there, um, and that's a big inspiration. I know, like in New Jersey, they had this massive Hindu temple constructed there, and like every actor has their own like mission to what to do with their money, and
mm,
mine is one of bringing transcendental information and Western Eastern ideas to the states. And so I think
mm,
that's just going to be something that's transformative. And I also think there's a lot of people in the US that um, some of them, I know a lot of people who were brought up in a church and they're like they've gone against those ways and they're looking for something to fill that void in their heart. And I think there needs to be a new revitalization of like opening people up to these new ideas that seemed alien before, but are incredibly helpful. Even just simple things like meditation. Um, I was talking to some people on the yoga trip I was on, and they were talking about how there were, a group of people that, grew up in a shaky environment and they ended up pursuing with their life meditation, and they're bringing that to like underprivileged schools. So instead of physical education like gym, which we have in the US, they just do physical yoga and they do meditation that's helping them profoundly. And something as simple as that, like instead of you take 10 minutes out of the day to teach children meditation before they start school and mindfulness, so they start to figure out, oh, my words have an effect on someone else. Why would I choose to demean them or put them down? Because I know in India there's much more sense of community, and like you people are like your brothers and sisters even if they're not directly related to you. In the US it's much more cutthroat, whether it's that's just not a great way to live, where people just live for themselves and their family unit, and they could care less about people outside of that. Um, so yeah, definitely something that again, it'll take time, but to try to bring that message across.
true, true. Yeah. So yeah, we have almost covered everything, I guess, from the chat. Yeah. Anything else to say to the audience, like before we end? Uh, Brandon, do you have any end
No,
credits?
no. End credit scene. Um, no, not really. I mean, um, I'll just say like I think 2025 is going to be a big year for both me and Aditya. So just keep your eyes tuned. Let us both cook.
Hmm.
I want to be in movies. He's going to be in have a massive podcast when he gets back to India. So yeah, just stay tuned.
Hmm. Yeah. So before we end the session, we'll do a small meditation for 5 minutes. Then we'll end the session. Okay. Everyone chant Om Krim Mahakalikaaya Namaha inside the mind for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I will remind you to open the eyes. Then we can end the session. Yeah. Three, two, one, go. Yeah. Now we can open our eyes. So I hope everyone have enjoyed this live session. And thanks, Brandon, for joining this live session during this Friday, right? Friday. And how was Thanksgiving? I forgot to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Just had turkey for the first Thanksgiving in 2 years,
Mm,
so that was good.
mm,
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. Not very eventful this year, but yeah.
mm. Okay, yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Brandon, for joining. And we'll meet in
Thank
the
you too.
next live session that is tomorrow at the same time. Okay, Jai Mahakal.
Jay
Yeah,
Malcolm. Thank you.
yeah.